it seemed to me so much is happening, it's hard to get perspective on any of it, but it does feel like Thomas Massey's loss in the primary in Kentucky 2 weeks ago was like a kind of pivot point in American politics. What was your response to it?
Well, my response to it was, how dare we, preach democracy around the world and tell people that the people in China are oppressed when we obviously don't have democracy here, right? This is a complete. We just gave up, and so now it's the oligarchs. As I was telling you before, it's just proof that we don't live in a democracy. They did that Princeton study in 2015 about how the 90% of people, their wishes never are expressed in legislation, and it's only the top 10% of the wealthy people. And there's a direct correlation. If 50% of the wealthy people want something, 50% of the time it happens, And so, but the bottom doesn't matter. Your vote that literally doesn't matter. And we're living in that. And so, I was telling you before, in China, the government sits above capital.
Yes.
And so the economy works for the people. But in the United States, capital is above the government. And so the economy doesn't work for the people. It works for a handful of international globalist billionaires, which is why we have homelessness everywhere. We have the biggest prison population in the world. And, we still go bankrupt just to get educated. You get bankrupt when you get sick. And like I say is that we live in a surveillance state. And so we're like China, except we have more street crime and slower trains.
No. And we get lectured constantly in the most self-righteous way by the worst people. So let me just ask you about this country or the West more broad. The liberal democracies that resemble ours, every one of them is coming apart. Every one of them has reached kind of the end of a life cycle. They're not serving their people at all. All of this whole project is being...
they've become the fascists that they were supposed to be. I mean, they're canceling elections when they don't turn out the way they want.
Exactly.
They're doing austerity now in Europe and Germany, and they're ratcheting up for a war with Russia. Jeffrey Sachs just wrote an open letter to Germany, like, hey, stop this.
I know. And they'll ignore him.
And of course they will.
Yeah, what a good man he is.
Yeah.
Liberal democracy has turned out to be neither liberal nor democratic.
They're illiberal.
They're illiberal and undemocratic. It's now pretty obvious to most people who are paying attention that this system is fake. It's not serving its intended beneficiaries, and it's kind of over. So then the question becomes, well, what next, and how do we get there? And the two potential paths are violent revolution, which I'm opposed to, or somehow using this broken system to improve or replace the broken system.
Yeah.
And what...
Well, Larry Fink is afraid of a violent revolution.
They're all afraid of it.
He said that they're going to start drone bombing these data centers. He's afraid of that.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they know how hated they are.
And they did and Jeff Bezos did this softball interview with CNBC last week or 2 weeks ago, and he talked about how if I pay more taxes, it's not going to help the nurse in Queens and all that stuff, And he goes, if I do my job right, it's going to help people more than my philanthropy. Right? Oh, really? If you do your job right, you know what the turnover rate in a Amazon fulfillment center is? 150%. Yeah, 100 to 150% every year. So that means every 8 months, 100% new workers. And so why do 1/3 of your workers, the richest guy in the world, are on government assistance?
Why am I subsidizing your employees?
That's exactly right. Same thing you hear about Walmart. So this is the country we've devolved into when you have a government by the oligarchs, for the oligarchs, and the workers get screwed. So that's where we're in. And exactly what I said before,
Excuse me. Woo!
The only way to do this is if people realize that they have a common humanity with their neighbor. Don't fall for it that your neighbor is the white supremacist, Nazi, racist that you have to oppose and that they're the enemy. No, they're, again, suffering under the same conditions you're suffering under. Join with them, oppose those people, the WEF globalists who actually run everything. It's funny, people talk about communism, you don't get choice. People think back to, but capitalism has led us to the same thing. There's three companies that own everything. Yeah, Vanguard, true. State Street, and BlackRock. That's the real boss. So Trump has a boss. They all, and I try to tell people that, the Congress is that they're not, they're not doing the bidding. When they have a session of Congress, people go, oh, do you think they have secret meetings where they plan this stuff? Well, yes, actually they do. It's called Davos. It's called the Bilderbergs. Now we know that's real. That people just think that was crazy.
Big time.
But I used to say it's just a session of Congress. You think when they get together, they're doing the bidding of students or workers or the elderly. They're in there doing the bidding of the oligarchs, the donor class, the people who actually run. They're bosses, and it ain't you.
That's just a fact. That's no longer, I don't think there's a single word you just uttered that could be quibbled with even. It's all proven now.
دیدن نادیده ها